Okay, today is the Yooker's Yooth. For opening of it, check out the video in the card or the description. I'm not sure if I know how to do the card yet, but I'm just saying that to be safe. First refillable felt tip pen fitted with standard international ink cartridges. Rarely do we 0.8, which is apparently extra fine to these people, whoever makes the Yookers. It's not really that fine because there are 5 fine liners that are thinner than 0.8 in my collection alone, and there's a lot more than that in just the world. Okay, so bunch of ink, Yooker's Yooth, red. Came with a separate bottle of ink, but that's gonna get its own video. Very smooth, glossy. It's a very noticeable taper from this end to this end, in that it's translucent. Not sure if that's visible with this lighting. There's a pointed end that is open, so eyedropper filling is not recommended at all. Metal top. I'm assuming it's covering the screw which is holding the clip in place. Snap cap. Kind of small little bumps all along it. Is that on the inside? There's a, I think that's visible, a smudge or something on the inside. Okay, a lot of threading. It's a very nice grip, or section as it's known. Nice looking nib, more of a plastic nib rather than a true felt. Sealing cap. What is this smudge? Smudge is going to be an insult one day. Is it my finger smudge? Okay, the ink came off my fingers because I've been swabbing and it got on it, so the smudge was not on the inside. So I guess it's time to ink this bad boy up. Why not do it with one of their included cartridges? Bada bing, bada boom. Now, waiting game. Okay, the waiting game has been played. The nib has now been inked. Saturated is the proper word. Caps. These bad boys out of here. Okay, so how it delivers the ink is going to be tested on 3 different papers. The first one is Canson watercolor paper. Very thick, can handle anything. Yeah, can basically just handle anything. Next up is Strathmore 300 series sketch paper. Much thinner, but can also basically handle anything. And then lastly, maybe first, who knows, is going to be this janky journal with super thin paper. You know, this is going to be first. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, works. Will it skip? It seems to have skipped a tiny bit over here, but that's because it's on the edge of the page and rotating and all that junk. Wow, this is a felt tip is holding up better than a fountain pen, or at least a few of my fountain pens don't hold up this well. Saturate the paper. Not much bleeding, because this does write pretty dry. And I'm guessing the ink is also one of the big reasons why it's acting so behaved. I'm actually really surprised by this. I have not had something work just so nicely. There's always been a bit of a struggle with it. And then, for the even jankier paper that bleeds through everything, no matter how much care I put in. Ooh, that's a nice posting. It doesn't want to come off, and it's very solid. I'm guessing people would say that it's back-weighted, but I love back-weighted pens. Ooh. It writes pretty smooth. No bleeding. That's my fault for the Y. So, slow it down. How will it react? Still smooth, bit of feathering and I think shadowing when it shows through, but that's still pretty nice. Strathmore 300 series sketch paper is up next. It can handle basically anything, but it'll show through, and maybe if you overdo it, it'll bleed a tiny bit. Okay. Don't want to put it at an angle, apparently. Higher angles. The higher angle, the better. Yeah, or actually, say about perfect 90 gets you not that thick again. Yeah, but this is really nice. Okay, now with the larger paper, the speed isn't going so well. Next up is Canson watercolor paper. It is 140-pound paper. Okay. So let's see. As expected, nothing. Yeah, I'm gonna do a drawing on this piece of the paper. I know it won't do anything to the paper, and why not draw, you know?
Howdy doodle dandy, welcome to the drawing segment for the Yooker's Yooth fountain pen. It is going to be a watercolor piece with the line art being done with the Yooker's pen. It's using the included black ink cartridges because I don't know what is best compatible with the Yooker's Yooth. So why not just use the included? And the Yooker's pen works pretty well, but it dries out even when capped. So if you leave it for more than an hour without using it, then you have to suck on the pen, and then it like kind of breaks the pen, but then it starts working, and you have ink all over your mouth, and it tastes bad, but it does work pretty well. I got the 0.8 one, and I'm not sure if I would prefer a thicker nib, because then the line art would be too thick in my opinion, and the ink that comes with it kinda like really sucks, because when it gets touched by any water, so if you're trying to resaturate the nib, and so you dip it in a cup of water, the ink turns red for some reason, and then blue, and then black. So it's really weird, and it's not really that reliable, because if you try to use it, then if you just go over one spot just once, if you go over one spot one time, then it's kind of like a grayish purple line. Or if you go over it multiple times, then it finally does put down a black line, but then it's not like a smooth line. You get the chicken scratch. So it kinda sucks, but I think it's worth it for the Yooth version. I definitely wouldn't pay the $40 for the metal one, because that would just be a waste of time and effort on a $40 pen that should work so much better, just not working. Like, I would hate that so much, because like my super cheap pens, like 5, 10, 15 bucks, they all work crazy reliably, and I use them all the time, but I can leave them sitting for like a week, even if it's like a pen that you're supposed to like not leave. And like the rollerball pens that can use fountain pen ink with a converter, for some reason, the one I have, it has never actually clogged up or jammed, but the Yooker's Yooth does all the time. But what I have not yet tried, and what I am scared of, is using another type of ink other than the included cartridges in this pen, even though I know it's supposed to be able to handle it. I just don't know what inks it can take. I know it can't take pigmented, and I know it can't take shimmer, but I don't know how wet the ink has to be. I don't know if color matters. I don't know if it'll stain it permanently and then I'll never have a good color ever again. I don't know if it needs to be a watered down ink. I don't know what this pen needs to be used properly with other inks, so I'm just sticking to the included cartridges, which suck terribly. So if I'm going to do anything, I will most likely try one of the Monteverde inks with it, particularly the Monteverde Caribbean Blue, because that's one of my baseline inks, and I'm scared that any other inks that aren't so like smooth and well flowing, I'm worried that any of those will just completely clog it up. Because the other baseline ink that I have, Noodler's Heart of Darkness, it dries out too quickly even in like a regular fountain pen with a good flow. So I don't know what to do. Anyways, other than that, it's a good pen. When it's working, it works really well. Just make sure to not drink too much ink at once. And keep on drawing. See you next time, BB Girl. Mwah.